Call the meeting of the Ellsworth Township Trustees to order. Roll call. Trustee Spellman.
Present.
Trustee Tillman.
Here.
Trustee Houston here. Also present is Fiscal Officer Karen Grady and Zoning Inspector Wayne Sarna. So all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Welcome everybody that's here. Before we get started, is there any additions or changes in the agenda anybody wants to make?
None.
No? Okay. Minutes. Need a motion to approve the minutes?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes as prepared.
From the, what meeting was it? The last
From
one?
June.
We just have one meeting.
Yes, June 11th.
June 11th.
Okay, I'll second the motion to approve the June 11th meeting minutes.
Trustee Spellman?
Yes.
Trustee Tillman?
Yes.
Trustee Houston, yes. Fiscal report.
And you can sign this. Our balance is $921,105.36. We are waiting for our audit to complete. Attorney Matthews was sent a letter on the litigation, and he had not responded, so I sent a second copy to him at the end of last week, and as soon as that is returned to us, we should be concluded. Okay.
That letter's just explaining the...
It's the same thing that Mr. Attorney Fenimore got, just confirming that there were no financial costs.
associated with that litigation.
Yes, during our audit period. It's exactly the same thing.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Karen.
And I had sent you an email about getting that. You're working on getting those
Yes,
appropriations.
and that you will have that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Maintenance report.
In your packet here, well, we did some landscaping at the fire hall at the administration building there. And the cost of that, on the second page, $227.45 from Parks Nursery and $60 from CBS Topsoil. Also, I'd like to thank CBS took all the old bushes, put them in their mulching pile. That was nice. Another suggestion I have is maybe to remove those blue spruces, or at least one of them. They're kind of overgrown, something that we can discuss in the future. Maybe remove those and spruce up the place a little bit better.
Are you talking about replacing them, Matt, then with something? And there's some people who approached us, the trustees that just came on, about the memory trees and some things of donations of some types of trees that, certainly those don't fit anymore. I don't think they help our appearance. But
Right, they've outgrown.
anybody had any ideas about that?
Well, one of the suggestions that Jeff Williams gave me was to put a bed out, a small bed out front with 3 pines that don't grow like the spruces do, some type of dwarf, make a bed out there, put something out there in the front. So that's something else that we can do. But right now we can remove one of them or remove both of them. We can always add. I do know the Coffee Club for a Cause has offered to donate a tree for that corner. And they've also, they wanted to go down and pick one out from Parks, but I haven't had time to go with them. But that's a nice gesture. So those are a couple things that we need to talk about in the future.
Joe, the only thing I was going to say about the trees, I remember years ago, it seems like somebody asked for a donation, and I did at the time, so we could have a town Christmas tree to decorate. So I hope nobody's feelings will be hurt by the removal of that.
Well, they are kind of, I think if we're going to decorate them, we're going to have to use the fire truck.
Well, I don't
Because
know.
they're huge now, and we don't have those that amount of light bulbs anymore.
I hope nobody complains when they disappear, but it did start off as a noble cause.
I'm sure no matter what, somebody will complain.
Yeah.
If nothing more than say, I like the looks of them there.
Well, that's why I said maybe we'll take one down.
And see how
And
much
wait.
static we get.
And-
Go at it easy.
And certainly of our times we decorate a Christmas tree, we might get people complaints. There might be an individual as a crazy world we're in today.
Right. So
Holiday tree.
So let me know what your thoughts are and which avenue we should go down. Pressure tank has been installed in the fire department and the administration hall, so I think your water pressure should have been greatly improved.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's good. We did have an electrical inspection on the maintenance building and a generator tie-in project. The electrician did a great job. It passed. We've been working on the road crack sealing program with Berlin Township and Ellsworth. Ellsworth, we've done the cemetery, the last void, Lonesome Dove, Elk Road, and we have 3 more roads to go. So we'll resume that in the next couple of weeks. The cemetery. I purchased the Crypt Keeper Cemetery Record Keeping Program online. I'm going to start working on that. I think the first cemetery we're going to put in that program will be G-Bird, because it's a smaller one, and I want to get that up and running. I've also sold 2 plots at our main cemetery. Karen, they are requesting deeds for those.
You just
So-
signed them.
Okay, good. All right. I have 1 more pending. The cemetery maps, I actually met with Bill and had a nice conversation with him on some of the cemetery. Those maps that I had in the office were the only maps.
I have to say.
You have a set. Okay. Well, I went, I made 4 copies at Rich Printing, and I'd like maybe one of the trustees keep one, I'll keep one, we'll keep one in the office, and maybe put one in zoning or something. We'll divide them up in case there's a disaster until we get this online program going.
And to the chair, one question about, if we all had maps, then what happens? We'd have to periodically update those the same. We certainly don't want to have discrepancy of what his map says that. And then when we get logged on, we still want to keep accurate records, but
Absolutely.
we're going to have to, if we get more maps out there, we're going to have to keep them all uniform.
But they'll be useless once Crypt Keeper starts up.
Correct. I'd still like to keep a paper
Fine.
copy of that.
But that'll be, and
Yeah.
I suppose.
And also
Does that have
online.
backup?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
They back up off-site.
Yeah, the one that he bought, it does. You could have bought a program that you load, but then with that one, if we in the future want to get him an iPad or something that he can take to the cemetery, that one wouldn't work. Or the one we've got now, he can connect when he's at the cemetery and bring it right up there, when we get it all in, I understand. But when we get it all in, then he'll have that he can go right to the cemetery, talk to somebody and show them this plot, that plot.
Correct.
Right off of that.
The mausoleum, brought this up before, and it was when the weather was cold, but we need to really look at finding somebody to do some plaster work in there. Now that the weather's still warm, the next couple months, however you want me to approach that. If you know anybody that can do that, we need to, we're having chunks fall off. We need to keep up with it before it gets out of hand.
Is it bad enough that we need to do it? I mean,
And certainly, I think what calls for that is that we make sure we have a no water problem. That's what gets the plaster. We went up there last year. I think we did it with caulking gun and ladders, and I think we may need to look at making sure that we stamp that good for several years, that we put an investment in the plaster. I would think that would be a...
Even with this rainy spring and summer, I have not seen any water in the mausoleum.
And that may be, that job is good enough for 1 or 2 years. What I would think is we want something that forecasts 10 years, okay, then we'll do the plastering, we may have to get a professional in here to do some water sealing is what I'm leading into, so. We have some time to think about that as far as the weather goes, right?
Okay. I just want to bring it up, something that we need to put on the front burner. Post office. In the future, there's going to be a post office meeting August 12th. It's going to be at the fire hall. They're going to they're going to announce.
What time is it?
It's
6 o'clock at
6
night.
o'clock.
okay.
Okay.
They're going to announce their future plans. That post office will only be open for 4 hours a day. But they're going to mount 24-hour post office boxes outside. With much discussion, they wanted to put them right in front of the post office and that sidewalk by the door, left of the door, or south of the door, which I think would be kind of a dangerous area for people pulling in. My suggestion to the postmaster was we pour a pad between the sidewalk on the east side and the flagpole, and the pad would be 23 by 7. I did get some costs for material, about $750 for concrete, slag, and rebar. The post office did give me specifications of how they want that pad poured. 6-inch concrete, 8-inch slag. That's something we can do inside, in-house. I think it'd be a little safer on that side of the building, plus weather-wise, it's going to be on the east side.
And I think we need to do kind of whatever we can to make sure the post office stays there.
It does get a lot of
So,
traffic.
you know, I think if we do this, I think that kind of shows our commitment to them. So,
And that's been a long time commitment with the trustees to continue to do that. As anybody, the trustees that are in touch with the public, they love their little post office. So what do we got to do to hold the line? And there's lighting on that would be on the east side of that building then adequately for people to walk, because it's going to be after hours, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we have 2 mercury lights on each corner of the building, so we should be fine with that. I want to give you a little update about Mahoney County Sheriff's Department. We've been using the day reporters. We use them for crack sealing, and I've used them for weed whacking and cleaning up. To date, I've used them 12 days and 84 hours. That's free labor. The other benefit of that is our resource officer from the school, he visits me every day and makes sure that they showed up, everything's going fine. There's times that he's been here 2-3 times a day checking on us. He's provided us traffic control. We've worked with the crack sealing out on 45 and 224 at the intersections. He's been doing a really great job. So, you know, their presence has been enormous out here. He actually stopped in to see me this morning before my day reporter showed up, and he also told me that there was a break-in on Galt Road. And if you see something, because we're out on the road all the time. So, I think we need to give a little thanks to the Sheriff's Department. They're out here a lot. The pond project, if anybody's looked at that, it's looking pretty good. All the cattails are out right now, and I'm sure we're going to move forward on finishing that up here shortly. And also in your packet, I did get a air conditioning quote for the fire hall from York Mahoney.
Let's not disclose it at a time, because we may be getting more.
Okay, but I just
We
wanted-
could board.
I did receive one, and it's in your packet. So that's ongoing. We need to maybe do a little more shopping and see what other avenues we can do with that building. That's all I have.
okay, thank you.
Do you do the motion for the landscaping?
I don't know.
You approved it before.
Charity, put those on the credit card, will you put those with the
Put
CVS?
that-
with
Yes,
the-
well, CBS, we have an account with them, and Parks was on the credit card.
Okay.
Al, if you feel we need a motion, we'll make one.
Probably wouldn't be a bad idea.
Okay, the chair will entertain a motion for the
Miscellaneous landscape supply?
yes. And the cost,
$187.
I'll make the motion, what's that number again?
$287.45.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the expenditure of $287.45 for the general improvements of landscaping at the fire station.
Okay, I will second that motion.
Okay, Trustee Spellman,
Yes.
Trustee Tillman,
Yes.
Trustee Houston, yes.
Thank you.
Do we want to do anything about the pad? tonight. Or just-
Yeah, what was the time frame on that today?
It's going to be, I would say sometime in September.
Now, was that method, I don't know if I missed it, but was that approved by the post office already, or is that up for suggestion?
No, that,
They gave him instructions on how they wanted to do
yeah, they
it.
sent me a spec sheet of how they want that installed, the pad installed, the depth.
Up in the location off to the side?
And they're fine with the location.
Because I tried to call them and I could never get through them.
Correct.
The post office.
Correct, and I've asked,
Talk to us.
and I've asked her
Yeah.
to have them call me, and when they come down, we'll walk it, and, you know, because they were talking about.
Did they actually come down?
No.
Oh, over the phone?
But you got the hotline, you
So
talked
you-
to a real person.
No, I never talk to anybody, they go through Vicky, the postmaster, all the time.
And so she said it's okay.
Yep, she said that they finally
So
approved
if
it.
the worst case, we're going to put a pad in, then maybe that might not be used, but it could probably be used.
I'm sure it's going to be.
But what's the meeting for then? What do you get an impression that,
They're going to have a
I got the
public
letter,
meeting
but I
to explain why they're going to 4 hours, what hours they're going to, you know, is it going to be from 10 to 4 or 12 to 5 or whatever the hours are.
again, they will be telling us, they won't be asking.
Right, in the letter, it makes it sound like they're having a public meeting for public input, but really it's public, it's output to the public of what they're doing.
This is what we're doing.
It's a public acceptance after they're done talking.
And we should just thank them for sticking around, whatever they say, I
Yes.
guess.
Yes,
Okay.
4 hours is better than none.
For years, and the public should know, we've kept that, maintained that with a very acceptable rate that we've had. You know, if we know and listen to the news, they're shutting down post offices all around the country and they're cost saving. We've drawn a line by keeping very attractive as the landlord to what the postal service wanted. So, and we're still going to do that with the trustees. I hear that in their tone of their voice in their discussion tonight. So,
Well, I think they're going to, you know, everybody, change is always hard, but I think you'll see that now you have access to your post office box 24/7, instead of when the post office is open.
If I could ask one of our two Berlin trustees that are here, is your post office changing at all at times?
We have a great post office.
Well, I understand it's beautiful, it's a nice building. But are they altering the hours or the accessibility?
They did.
to-
Well, we do, yeah, they did alter the hours, but we have a first-class post office.
Well, I'm sure you do.
well, part of us keeping ours open, they steal part of our routes and have a delivery, and therefore they can do more volume, so they can stay more open. If they weren't taking from us, it would be a little easier for us to maintain and draw the line.
Yeah, we were kind of-
Thanks, Denny.
Thank you, Denny and Jason, thank you for your input.
Well, I am not hearing anything about the pad, so we'll move on.
No,
So are we gonna,
no, after all that, we're
oh,
going to
if
make a
we're
motion.
paying for this, so you're gonna make the motion to pay for it?
Yeah. Oh, and
Well, if we don't make a motion, we ain't going to do it.
Thank you. You're on my page.
did you finish telling us that you're going to do that in-house?
Yes, that would be just the material.
Yeah.
We do the labor in-house.
That's with our...
I mean, we have a nice little backhoe, we have the dump truck, and.
We may have to rent some forms. There might be some more costs. We have till August, the public meeting, and if we took action right after that, would that be fair? Would that be good, Bob?
Take action to approve the pad after that?
Yeah, they're gonna make the announcement, we're gonna build
But that's
it.
after our meeting,
Yeah, why don't we, I mean, you could do it now, I would think.
and then you
just
can
get it
alter
ready
it if
and-
you have to.
Would that be okay, Chad?
Whatever you gentlemen want.
I'd rather wait and let the post office be lead on this. This is their idea, this is their project, this is us merely responding. I don't want to be partner in them cutting our post. That's just, I'd act like an agent then by doing this. And we'd like to keep August 12th, we have a new pad there. Yeah.
So you're saying you'd rather wait? Is that what you're saying?
I'd rather get it done.
Why don't we just approve it and wait on doing it until we see what comes through? We're going to approve like a dollar amount, maybe up to $1,000. Is that the way it goes? Would that cover it, any contingencies, and just in case? I mean, if nothing else, we have a nice little addition to our sidewalk. Pretty material. Do you think that's being complicit with the post office?
Yeah.
Kowtowing to them?
Yes.
Really?
I think some people aren't going to be happy with it, and we've already made a decision for them. We couldn't fight back, or I'd like them to hear what the public says. But
Well,
we can do
Well,
it.
you can fight back all you want, but it ain't going to change
Well, we
it.
just went through, the public is not going to be asked their opinion, they're going to be mutes and have to listen. right? No matter what they say, it doesn't matter.
If you want to wait, that's fine.
No, I'm making
We'll
wait.
No, I'm one board member. Go ahead.
I'll make.
Matt, if you think we need to do that now?
Well, the meeting is in August. It's after our meeting in August.
I would think that if we don't get it done ahead of time, that they might just go put it out front and we're done anyway, because they have their own time frame. So I would say, based on the
I thought our
contingency,
meeting was the 13th next month, and that's the 12th.
What's the 12th?
I don't know.
Trustee meeting is
Where's
the
the
13th.
calendar?
That's what's on the agenda.
Yeah. And if your post office meeting is the 12th.
Did I
Did he say it was the
did I miss
12th?
that?
Is it the 12th?
No, the 13th.
The meeting is the 12th.
So it's one day before then.
No.
Yeah.
I don't have a
Then we
calendar
could-
in front of
then we
me. I
could-
thought I looked at the calendar, right?
August 12th, it said, yeah, I have written down the post office.
Yeah.
Our meeting is the 13th, I think, Wednesday the 13th. So we could wait till right then and then do it.
And I'm not going to put it in before August 12th. I mean, we just don't have the time right now.
So
So-
it just works out time-wise where it works.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll pass.
Thank you. Okay. Zoning report.
My last report was June 11, 2014. Since that time, I've written about 5 permits. First permit I finalized was the White House Fruit Farm for 4 temporary display signs. That was on June 15th, 2014. Also wrote a permit for a storage building for 5705 Elias Lloyd Road in Ellsworth. It was 20 by 16. Also wrote a permit on June 17th for an addition. The address on that is 11621 Palmyra Road, North Jackson, Ohio. That would be 900 square feet addition. July 3rd, I wrote a permit for a storage / detached garage. It's 32 by 30 at 11775 Berlin Station Road. I believe that's in Berlin Station, Ohio. On July 1st, I wrote a permit for a chicken coop. The address on that, 6820 Salem Warren Road, Berlin Center, Ohio. And that would be the southwest portion of that lot, and that was exempt. Also received 2 complaints. Investigated both. I'm still in the process of investigating both. One property was at 9739 West Hill Drive. It was abandoned property. I looked up that property. It was foreclosed on. And that property was sold in April 2013. Home's abandoned. Grass is high. There's also a above ground pool full of water. The neighbor has filed a complaint with the health department, and he also made a written complaint through our office. So I'll follow up on that. I did call the bank's attorney. The sale has not yet been confirmed, but I alerted the bank that the property has to be cleaned up. So I'll follow up on that. I also received a complaint about the Sportsman's Club. I did investigate the complaint, and I still have to obtain the Board of Zoning Appeals minutes to see exactly what was stated in their hearing. I believe there was one building, also there was a permit, and I have to find that permit. I also received a request by Mahoning County Planning Commission to review a replat on Palmyra Road. And there's no address on Palmyra Road, but it's replat of Lot 2 of Rudy Zopel, plat number 1. That lot is located in the most eastern portion of Ellsworth Township, on the southern part of Palmyra Road, so it borders Campfield Township. The owner of that property wants to split the lot into 2 lots. Planning Commission has sent it to me and the Zoning Commission to review. It appears the replat has proper frontage, proper rear yardage also. So I'll speak with the Commission on this request.
That's near that new home that is just,
There's going to be 2 new homes built. So it's 1 lot into 2 lots with 2 new homes.
chief that was a fire there one time, right?
It looks like, I did drive. I did drive by the property. In fact, I drove by it today. It looks like they're putting culverts in to access the properties already. They're on their way.
Okay, anything else? Thank you very much. Fire department report.
Okay, since our last meeting, we had 2 structure fires, 1 vehicle fire, 2 10 calls, 4 service calls, 11 emergency medicals, 3 motor vehicle crashes, and 7 EMS transports. Between cleaning, maintenance, runs, fire prevention, drills, we had 206 firefighter hours. We received mutual aid from both Canfield and Berlin Center, and we've given mutual aid both to Canfield and Berlin Center. So, and it's just, I guess, I didn't have this on my reports, but I'd like to discuss the tornado and just to answer any questions people might have about, because I know there's been a lot of questions. I had a meeting this afternoon with EMA at Canfield City Council, fire chief, police chief from Canfield. We talked last night. I rode around with, we checked the damage assessment from the National Weather Service from Cleveland, EMA, and Chief Hutchison from Canfield, myself. We surveyed some of the damaged areas in Ellsworth and Canfield. Since it was initiated here, and the National Weather Service nor EMA had any inkling that this storm was going to hit. It just hit. It just started. It just come down like, looks like southwest of the monastery is where it initiated and just carried through. So, fortunately, no one got hurt. That's the major thing. You know, this is kind of an odd time of year to have, because this isn't usually our tornado season, so it's kind of an odd time, you know, to have, you know, something like this happen. But he did, and I called you last night after I got back to the station, you know, they did finally, looking at the debris, the carrying of the debris and the twisting of the trees and the damage done. They did label it as an EF1, so 75 to 90 mile an hour winds. So, and like I said, fortunately for the resident out here, the 9300 block of Akron Canfield, she saw it. You know, the lady saw it. She went out to get her trash cans to bring them in, so it didn't get blown around. And she said she saw the twister, and she jumped in her basement. She actually got to the top of the stairs and dove to the basement, and then, like I said, it just tore off the side of the house. So, and like I said, fortunately, her and her daughter were both safe. Everyone was fine. So, but did some damage to the Buckeye Horse Park. We had Mill Creek Park out there. The park police was out there yesterday surveying the damage, and they were doing. We had a board up. We called a board up company in for our resident, Ellsworth residents. So the items that were not damaged by the storm, in case of rain or, you know, vandalism, whatever, we had the structure secured and boarded up for the lady last night. And then they were going to take care of, I guess, go take care of the horse park as well. The concession stand was. They have all those appliances back there in the concession stand that when they hold horse shows and things like that, that garage door that, you know, that secures that building was blown in and crushed, and a third of the roof was gone. So I think the board up company was going to take care of that as well last night. So, but anyways, but like I said, fortunately, no one got, in Ellsworth or Canfield, no one was injured. So, but, so that's that. As you see, we got an application from Ted's wife, Monica. She wants to join the fire department, and I was like, that should be a welcome member. So I'd like to see her be accepted on as a probationary firefighter EMT. And I talked to Karen about the, I have item number 1, news from the prosecuting attorney's office from the turnout gear. I guess they're allowing us to pay the bills from the turnout gear.
The auditor.
The auditor is out of, so it is for equipment and apparatus. And since the tanker's paid off, if we could get our turnout gear from that levy, if that's possible. So we need, I counted tonight, I looked at the firefighters' gear that, that doesn't have gear. There's about 15 sets that are outdated. So we need to get some.
How many are we talking for 15 sets?
Well, it's like, they're like, and I put on my needs list for, at the beginning of the year, they're like, well, we got a quote for $1,700 per set. So, and it takes, we ordered yours in February, I believe you were sized, and it just came in like a month ago. So it just takes that long to.
I personally would say that that's all right as long as we don't go over the money that's there.
Right, absolutely. And we'll monitor that. I'll keep close tabs of that, and I will monitor what we have, and I'll prioritize the turnout gear list.
And it'll still take a motion from us.
Right.
As long as we maximizing the care, that doesn't happen all the time, because we're needing some other piece of apparatus than turnout. So I know we've made it last since the FEMA 2006. Was that 2000?
4.
Okay.
So
that was the last big purchase of equipment or turnout, right?
Correct. So we purchased, I think, 12 sets in 2004, and we still have the turnout gear. It's just, but it is what it is, And also, we are out of foam for our ladder, and we used our 55-gallon drum of foam, and it usually lasts, I think it's about 2 years. We go through a 55-gallon drum of foam. We have a 30-gallon tank in. We have a 30-gallon tank in the ladder and a 25-gallon tank in the engine. And like I said, we use it on all structure fires. And depending on how fast we use it, like I said, we average about 55 gallons every 2 years. And we're looking at getting 5-gallon pails versus a 55-gallon drum, because of the shelf life is, it's got a 20-year shelf life as long as it's not open, not exposed to the elements. So what we'd like to do is get 11 5-gallon pails, and that way it's easier for anybody to pick up the 5-gallon pail instead of having to draft it out of the tank. And number one. Number two, as long as it's closed, that it maintains that 20-year shelf life. Versus if we open a 55-gallon drum, now the clock is ticking.
How much more is it per 5-gallon?
It's probably, I think, like $50 or $60 more for 5 gallons versus a 55-gallon drum. But basically, you're saving on the life savings because you're not opening up unless you need it. So it's easier and we don't have to deal with a 55-gallon drum at the station. So we can just put the pails upstairs.
And it's not toxic. Those pails aren't hard to dispose away or anything.
No, they're plastic pails. It's like Dorinda's uncle comes out. He uses them at his house. So he comes and gets the empty pails a lot of times, or we'll refill them, keep them on the trucks, So, but anyways, the other thing is I'd like to look at. I got a couple quotes on a thermal imaging camera. We have one on the ladder that was given to us by the county. I'd like to get another one for our engine. That way, when we go to mutual aid calls, we carry our thermal imager on our ladder because when we run out on our fires, that's the truck that goes out first. When we go on mutual aid calls, we take the engine out first. We don't have a thermal imager, and then I'm putting my guys in buildings without. They can see each other in the buildings. That's the idea of the thermal imager, or looking for victims, things like that when we go to mutual aid calls. So I don't want to have to rely on getting one off of another fire department's truck. It's like, because they're using them. I would like to get another one for us. So I got a couple quotes. I'll give them to you in a minute here. The item number 4 was the discuss the room behind the air trailer. We were talking about, I spoke to Fred about getting rid of the hose dryer, because it was put in the 70s and that hasn't worked for probably 10 years. So if we could scrap that, put a room with a locked door in behind the air trailer, the same width as the hose dryer is currently, and then we can move out of that other room. And we talked about putting cabinets in the kitchen for our utensils and things out of that room. We'd have to put our freezer, stick our freezer in the bay as well. The only thing my request is that the money does not come out of the fire levy for this room.
I hear silence.
Well, it is what it is. So that's my only request.
And I kind of go along with it, not coming out of the fire levy, because we're kind of after that room,
And we all have to find a way, we need to create win-wins, and that's
Right.
certainly, I know what Chair you're saying, I think we need to make this a win-win. We need that room too, right, Chair?
Yep. Yeah, we've been pushing the fire department to get out of that room so that we can move our zoning stuff over there, so I agree that it doesn't there's no need for it to come out of their money. I mean, we're not talking thousands of dollars anyway, but irregardless, I think it's just
It's an overall facilities improvement. I think that falls within general.
Capital improvement.
Yeah.
Right. And then the last item of discussion is, we had talked sometime after, we did the ISO rating, and we were able to achieve that. We were successful in that. We talked about replacing our 95 International and looking at the future of, what that's going to hold for us. We've been looking at and starting to spec out rescue pumpers. Our goal is we've had several meetings about this, and what we'd like to do is, engine 47 right now is our rescue truck, and we carry a little pump on it that we pull it out of the truck and hook up the hoses to it for their jaws and we extricate victims that way. Well, I'd like to see us have a engine rescue that we can has the jaws already, the hoses already hooked to the truck, so on reels that we could just pull out the reels, save us a lot of time. So we're not starting engines, we're just pushing a button to start off the truck. It will have the capability to fight fires, and it's a backup engine if something happens to our primary engine, but also run as a rescue as well. So, like I said, something that we'd like to look at. Now, we had Warm Fire Equipment came down, when was it, 2 weeks ago? Brought a demo truck. Now it's a 2011. It was only built for Warren Fire Equipment for a demo. It was never used in the fire service. They just take it around from show to show and department to department. It's 2011. Right now it's discounted. What do they say? 200 and some thousand off the price. Yeah. They're not cheap, but, you know, I mean, we paid $500,000 for the ladder. Oh, well, that's what it was worth. We paid $25,000 for the ladder. But, you know, it's like, that's, you know, going right for fire apparatus anymore. And something we, you know, like I said, we need to look at. That pump, the plumbing on that truck is not going to last forever. It's time to replace it. So I think Ted will attest to some of the ills of that truck, where we're at now, and it's just, like I said. So that's where we're at. So I'd like to put just some, you know, thought.
You said that this truck is 200,000 off. If it's 200,000 off, what is it? What is it then?
It was
I think around 300.
$350.
Okay.
Yeah.
And my only other question to the fire department is, how do you plan on paying for it?
Well, I guess that's the question is that equipment and that equipment levy, equipment and apparatus levy, that's what, you know, was used for. And I don't know how long, if we could keep it like it is, if it carry out that, you know, how long it would carry out that payment on that truck, number one. Number two, is, you know, we may have to renew a levy. Not go for a new levy, because our levies are continuous. So not go for a new levy, just a renewal, an update. Like we did in 90, when was that? When was the last one we did? 2001?
Something like that. 2001, and then it took effect in 2.
Yeah.
When the people realize what possible savings they can have, this might be an easier sell with little time. But they'll see the plan now, and they think forward's okay.
Right.
But I think we need to see how people could possibly realize some savings, because some have raved about it and some have got nothing. So when that kind of success on the good side of that happens, then, you know, looking at a levy, you know, revisit may be okay. It's early discussion, right? This isn't.
Oh, absolutely. That's what I wanted to bring up now, is just for, so I have on my list, discussions on replacing 40 Engine 47. So, but, and other than that, the only other question I have, any information on the junior program?
Well, it's on the agenda. The chair's going to lead us in that.
Okay. Well, anyways, I'll show you the quotes here I have for the thermal imagers. This one here is from Warren Fire Equipment. He quoted me the same one. That this is the same exact. It's a smaller one that Canfield has, and here's one here that we were looking at. There's a big difference here. This one here.
Bob or Ted, how old the other thermal imaging camera? How long do those life before they become IT'd out? Their life runs out.
We still use it. I mean, we use it on every structure part we go
But
on.
technology-wise, I mean, how long do they until they evolve out where it's an obsolete thing?
You know what? I mean, here the thing of it is that it's like a computer. Every few years, they have little bits of upgrades to them. However, the objective here, like with our thermal imaging camera that we use now, you know, we're looking for victims in fires. We're looking for the fire. Sometimes you can't see it.
Fire extension.
Fire extension in
Instead of
other
wall.
rooms. You know, so like the other day, I got called for a smoke detector going off in a resident. So
I see the purpose and I see the need.
Right.
I just wonder.
I just climbed up in the attic with our thermal imager.
We buy this, and if the other one's 6 years old, then what I'm saying, if they last 10 years, then we'll be looking to buy another one 10 years from beyond that.
The one we have is probably about 10 years old.
Yeah. Okay. That is.
So, but we were looking at the one in the Darling magazine, the Darling catalog. So, but
It's not the Cadillac model. It's not the Chevette. It's middle of the road.
yeah,
Saves everybody a little bit of money and does the job. So.
That's what I was just going to ask you. Will it suffice?
absolutely.
I mean, you'd be happy with it, that you wouldn't be.
No, that's right. I mean, here's because the thing is that, like I said, when we go on calls now, we're on an engine, you know, my firefighters don't have a camera, they have to, it's like, it's like there's commented, wish we had one, wish we had another one, we need another one. And so this is, speaking from the fire department, not just me.
And one thing it does is eliminates state, God forbid your house on fire, but, Fred, you've been on for a long time, someone's trapped. You only got, with the way the fire loads are now in a house, your time on search time for before a certain collapse is minimal, minutes. It's burning through and it's unsafe. You can make your search so much faster by scanning the room, going there, and you can pick up if a body's laying underneath the bed, hide in a closet, whatever, you'll pick that up, and that's what it's for. And you do your next search, go there. Then after, we got the fire knocked down or whatever, not in the extension, going up instead of ripping out someone's upstairs their house where there might not be something, but you think there is, you can just look at it, you can watch the temperature. It was just radiant heat, it wasn't really a fire in there. So that's the purpose of it.
The other thing too, and not just for fires, but we've used them on rescues as well too, nighttime rescues, where we're out looking for kids or people in, wooded areas or, and so we use those thermal imagers to find, pick up the body. So.
My only other question is, does that fall under the guidelines to take it out of the?
I was looking at it out of operating,
Well,
out of the operating money.
Out of your budget?
Yes,
how much is it?
4,500, something like that out of it.
It says 6,000.
Well, that's what I put on it. That's out of the catalog is the one we were looking at.
Like $4,500.
$4,500, yeah. Out of the I was planning on taking out of the operating supplies because of, we had money in there. It was like, I think 25,000 is what we had when we started with. So that's what I was planning on taking it. That and the phone out of the operating supplies.
Yeah, the phone would come out, yeah.
Right.
All right, so then, what are we,
You make a resolution.
which one of these two are
With
you looking
the
at?
power pack, with the battery pack, so we
The
can charge.
4794.
Yeah, so we can charge 2 batteries at one time. We could put it in the truck, we could put the charger in the truck, plug it into the shoreline, so we have an extra battery on the truck with us all the time.
So 4794.95 for the camera and 1,000 for the phone?
Yes, sir.
Is that the only thing you're requesting then tonight?
Does that include 2 batteries?
It includes one battery.
So you need an additional.
It comes with one, and then there's an extra one that comes with, yes.
That you have to buy separate?
No,
it comes with
that's-
2?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's the powerhouse
Spare,
bundle.
correct.
Plus the 1,000.
That'd be 5794.95. Is there any shipping on this?
No, I don't think so, no. We have an account with them.
Okay.
Darling.
Is this,
Okay, I can make a resolution.
uh,
You ready for me to make a resolution?
I was going to ask something. Are we at the point we should prioritize, like between turnout gear or this, or how are they doing on their budget?
I was looking at, because here's the thing, the turnout gear is a whole different fund. The turnout gear was out of the levy from the tanker since it was paid off.
Yeah, that was approved to take it out of, we were discussing that before.
So then, this would come out of just the operations levy for the budget that we set up at the beginning of the year. And then I turned in my needs list, and then that was on it.
So what's your impression of how we're doing, living within your budget for the halfway through the year?
I think, I get the statements from Karen, I think we're doing fine. I think you would know better, but I think we're at or above where we were last year.
You haven't purchased this much.
No.
That leaves a position for carryover, right?
Yeah.
See, I talked to the auditor because we couldn't get an answer from the prosecuting attorney, a definition of equipment. Chief said, and I agreed with him, they go anywhere, they put their turnout gear on. If they're fighting a fire, looking for a lost kid, cutting down a tree, whatever they're doing, it's on them. So it's equipment. So I asked the auditor from an auditing standpoint, and she agreed. She said, go ahead and take it out of the fire levy If you get an answer to the contrary, because at this point, it's been, what, 3 months, prosecutor hasn't given us an answer.
Since the beginning of the year, wasn't it? 'Cause it was like
Yeah, you might be
January.
right.
Because we ordered the gear in February, we got it approved, but we were gonna see if we
5,
can...
6 months.
So-
We've been waiting for an answer. So the auditor said, go ahead, and if we need to make an adjustment as to where we took it out of, we'll do that.
Okay.
Well, there are two different people, an auditor and a legal opinion. We've asked for legal opinion. We should ask for the legal opinion. We should go by the legal opinion. But the auditor is the person that does the checks and balance, look at our money spent. So I don't have a problem. But I would at least try to be insistent that the prosecutors answer the question.
Have been, Artie.
But I know we can make a motion to make the approval for this purchase tonight. We ready for that, Chair?
Yep.
Are you including the probationary firefighter too?
You want to do it all in one motion?
You might as well.
Okay, then if we can do it all in one motion, we'll do it all in one motion.
I'd like to make a resolution to approve $5,794.95 and also approve a temporary firefighter with Chiefs.
Monica Smith.
Approve for Monica.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll second the motion.
Trustee Spellman?
Yes.
Trustee Tillman?
Yes.
Trustee Houston? Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Did you want to talk about the junior fireman?
Yeah, Chair, thanks. They asked to sign and point that, so I want to kind of condense this. I talked to two different fire department, their personnel, about the junior firefighter program. The key points we got out of it is that they have strict guidelines on what those parameters of what those type of firefighters, and they're not really firefighters, but those junior firefighters that can operate in, and they're pretty strict, and they review that. They do recruiting candidates at schools, and they use that as a positive PR session and training as far as some of the emergencies at school, which was really a kick. And then when you get kids listening about that, they limit though, if they bring up, they limit the total amount of people they have on their fire department. Let's say if it was 50, it would be 40. The regular firefighters, 10 junior firefighters. They don't want that firehouse jam-packed. My question to them is then, is there displacement because of turnover? Let's say you get a young, energetic person and you got an older firefighter volunteer and you don't push him out with a question, you know, somebody. He said they haven't had turnover like that. They do get paid, and sometimes it's at a discounted rate compared to what the firefighters. We set that rate annually at our reorganizational meeting. But the real key thing is contacted Kaylor Fleming, our insurance agent, we get our insurance through Otarma. He wanted to talk to Kim Arnold, who's the point person down there in Columbus, about what's the liability, what risk assessment they would like to perform on that as we did this. I'm supposed to get emails to that. I'll forward to the trustees, and Bob, I think I could forward that to you too, so you're part of this thought process. And if we get to a point where we make a decision about that, one of the last things Lordstown Fire Chief said he would come down and give a presentation and answer questions from the board. I think that's what we'd want to do too at the end of this thing. After we get done with the risk assessment and the catastrophic loss or whatever, the other things are involved with Kim Arnold at Otarma. And so there is an answer. It isn't an answer tonight. It's those people that handle liabilities, and I think those are the things we need to consider. I'll put it out there.
I appreciate you checking on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Artie.
Okay.
EMS report.
Yes, sir. Brian's not here, as you see, because he's working. But also, I'd like to convey Matt's sentiments too about the Mahoney County Sheriff's Office being there. They were a big help yesterday during the storm, after the storm shutting down 224 for emergency traffic. Quick responses. I mean, they've been there helping us, and I told them, it's like, we'll help them too. It's like, it's like if they go out in an accident, call us. So, we'll be more than happy to help you out. So, but anyways, we obviously I said we had 7 transports in June. Request the post office box will need to pay $48 for 1 year. He said he's got a bill from Lanes. Maybe, I don't know if you have it or not, but okay. He's got a bill from Lanes. He says he's got one firefighter wants to go to EMS, go to class to take EMT training. He said it starts in August. So we may have 2. I'm not sure. So with Monica now, because she wants to run on the ambulance, so that's a possibility too. So just keep that in mind. All paperwork is up to date, and he said they will have his payments, invoices to you tomorrow morning.
To me?
Yes. And his Cleveland State all up to date, everything. Cleveland, they're off our program.
It was paid.
Okay.
Okay. He sent me an email just confirming here, I think 2 weeks ago. So
Yeah.
there's some out, there's some
Oh,
invoices.
good
Okay.
deal.
I told him you did, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
just double checking.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, Bob.
Yes, sir.
I think someone needs to start and double check Brian's paperwork, because what Brian's telling us and what we're getting from the other side is turning into 2 different things.
So that is-
Well, Quest is saying that she's sitting there with bills waiting on reports, and we're getting to the point again where, what is it, 60 days? You don't do it in 60
We
days?
haven't he hasn't sent anything into her for May or June.
And I mean, this is money you're gonna lose, and
Here, I said this, I emailed Cindy on Tuesday, yesterday. I said, I haven't written a check to Quest since May. Have you sent out an invoice, or did we not have any runs?
When was this?
Yesterday.
Oh, yesterday.
At
Okay.
8:25 a.m.
Okay.
And she wrote, we did not invoice anything for May or June. I'm still waiting on paperwork to be scanned
Okay.
to the charts and payments from both months to be turned in to us.
Okay.
this seems to be an ongoing problem.
Well,
Can I make it?
yeah, go ahead.
And that's the problem, is the scanning. Well, and one thing, and I'll just relate, because I work at Brookfield part-time, we transport. We scan when we get back the cover sheet, the patient's information right in, and it's put attached right to the EMS charts. I believe that's what Brian's trying to do at home and stuff. So if we just set up when the crew gets back, part of their paperwork, as they're doing their charts, they should be able to scan that and attach it to the charts right there at the station. Then Brian's, all he's doing is going double checking through like a Q&A to make sure everything's in order, and then it can get sent right off to her.
I'm not pointing fingers at anybody.
Well, no, I'm just saying
you know,
that's a solution.
This seems to be
Don't do that.
seems to be a problem, and I'm just suggesting that I think maybe someone needs to maybe look over Brian's shoulder a little bit and just.
I talked to him Monday night, so I mean, yeah, I'll bring it up again.
It just seems to be an ongoing problem, and one of the things that we said we were going to do was watch the money on the EMS this year to try and help kind of make a decision at the end of the year. So I just don't want to see us lose any money and then that cause problems on down the road. That's all. Go right ahead.
Okay, there is some sort of a problem, because I get everything that Karen gets and Brian gets, and there is some kind of lack of communication. Something is really wrong with it, and it's like 2 months out. So remember, we discussed it at the parade, and so I'm just telling you, we gotta.
Right. Well, after the parade, I spoke with him. So yeah. So.
Yeah, I saw the email he sent yesterday to Cindy saying he was going to get it done today or whatever, but it shouldn't be that much last minute. I recall I was telling somebody that we bought him an air card so we can get this done quicker. We did, previous trustees did. and we're paying for it monthly, you know, to help out. So I think that in the past, people have tried a little bit, but he has to try a little bit too, unless maybe he's just too busy, maybe somebody else should do it or do something, I don't know.
I mean, I remember at one trustee meeting, the suggestion was even made that, you know, if you need a secretary, let's look at doing that. And at that point, Brian said, no, 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 I'll do it. So,
I mean, 2 months in time-sensitive billing is just, we're not exactly rolling in money with the ambulance the way it is, so we can use.
and that's still an option. I mean, if you guys feel like you need somebody just to do paperwork, I'm sure we can work something out.
We can't do with lost revenue, so that's, for this to survive. So we have to capture all of it.
I mean, but I got a question, I guess. Is it losing revenue? I mean, anything that comes in extra from billing someone, it's got to be money made
Well, let's put it this way.
towards the EMS fund.
If a bill goes past the 60 days and you don't get paid, is it lost money?
I understand that, but I'm saying it's not losing to, the squad's not losing money by, you know, overall. I mean, it's generating money back to the township.
It's standing on its own, but you know.
We're not paying anybody, I mean, other than $18 to go on a transport, so it's not really losing money.
Right.
I don't think it's fair to analyze whether it's making or losing yet, because we said we're going to track it through this year. We'll let you know at the end of the year if it's making or losing.
Well,
correct?
it's not losing because it hasn't cost.
Well, we don't know, but there is an overhead
Right.
associated with it. So just whether it goes anywhere or not, it does have an overhead.
The problem is, you can keep paying your bills, but
Right.
when it gets to the point where you need a new ambulance, then what do you do? So you've got to be building up a little bit of money along to take care of your, down the road, not just, you can't just take care of this month's bills with the income and say we're all right, you know. That's all we're saying.
The point relevant to what we're talking about now is we can't really give up billing people because we think we have too much or whatever. I mean, we should.
Oh, no, you got to stop with billing.
Okay, but it's like easy to do if somebody just did it on time.
Right.
Correct.
Okay? That's all.
That's all we're saying.
And we'll
You know, like I
let you
said,
know
we're
at
not-
the end of the year if you were making money or losing money, but right now it's just a guess on my part.
we're showing our concern, that's all we're doing. We're not trying to badmouth anybody or knock anybody or anything like that. We're just showing our concern. Okay? Committee reports. I only got a couple things. One thing was that we approved getting the carpet cleaned, and we kind of decided to put a hold on that until we decide what we're doing in there. Excuse me, we may be doing air conditioning in that, and there was no sense cleaning the carpet and then putting all the dirt down on it. So we're just holding on to that. It's already approved, so whenever we decide that we're ready to do it, we'll do it. I was working with Bobby a little bit on the discussion of the storage, and we'll continue to work on that. The other thing I'd just like to say, this is coming more from me as personal as much as it is as a trustee. I, for one, want to recognize the Sheriff's Department for all that they do for us. I think they do a wonderful job, and I know that they're tying the levy, the sales tax to the sheriffs, and I only hope that the commissioners really stick to it then and make sure that if it passes, that the sheriff gets all the money that he's supposed to. But I do want to commend the Sheriff's Department. And that's about it.
Okay.
Can I continue on?
I'd like to continue on with the sheriff a little bit, and I'll go a little step further. I would like to get something going so we could improve their sign that they have out front, because it's kind of one-sided. Nobody knows it's there. We do have a substation or an outpost that the sheriff actively uses, and people don't really know it's there. And I think we're very grateful as a township for their police protection, because they are the only one we have. And maybe we can get a resolution so I could approve a little bit of money to double-side that sign and turn it sideways. Would that be appropriate? I don't know what it would cost you, but I'm assuming a few.
You find the cost out, and that's worthy cause for me, and you get the consideration for me, certainly.
Because there's a lot of residents I encounter that say they didn't know that there's even an outpost there. They might see the car or something by mistake, and they need a little notability, that's all. Because we're lucky to have them, and we do appreciate them being here. Okay.
That's it. It's kind of ironic, that's on my list here, is Sheriff's Department. Just to give a little history about that for the public, it's crafted years ago. There's one official law enforcement in Mahoning County was the Mahoning County Sheriff's Department. And certainly people need more, and sometimes they need better. That's where you've seen Boardman, Canfield, and they certainly have the resources to do that with the diversity there. To dispatch, certainly they dispatch the Berlin Reservoir and Berlin out there, so we enjoy that. That's been held in an agreement with a handshake. It can go away, but they certainly feel that they need to be out here. The Sheriff's Department has had a car here every day since Sheriff Green's been here. Whether they're 24/7, I can't say that. And I know Canfield's paying $280,000 to have 18 shifts covered now. Well, we don't have the money, and they realize that small townships like ours don't have the money to do that. So certainly kudos to them. The way that being, as far as this sales tax goes, part of a good campaign, and they're going to campaign this thing as safety forces. They do have something coming. They realize how little some of those guys work for and how hard they work for is something I was going to mention here tonight too. In the committee reports, trustees, we get a publication. It's 6 a year. We're there for 2 months. June and July's publication of the Ohio Township News. If we open that up, there's some really things that sound like Nostradamus, but we talked about these things 4 or 5 years ago. That really some good food for thought in the next couple months. Is just a couple that I picked out I think we need to look at. I said the right treatment for the right road at the right time. We know road preservation. We've really made some efforts in cemetery in that area. It had health care reimbursement guidance for the township. I think we want to get into that, and then certainly hopefully we won't have to wait for the winter conference, but it's something I'm eager to know more about. It says the Ohio Department of Health touts Ohio proposed new sewage rules. We've been hearing that's going to come out. It's going to affect us, at what depth, how dynamically it's coming out, and it's some of the synopsises in this book here of that. And it has a perspective on recent IRS ruling on volunteer firefighters. Chief, I definitely want to get you a copy of this, something that we all need to look at. The question has come up about the affordable health care and about what covers, who covers, how we define the people, what does or doesn't. And then lastly, I won't take any more time up, but the Ohio gas bill passed. That's kind of a severance where they said that we have the Attorney General and was part of it, but the House passed it, and I think it's over into the Senate side now, where severance tax, townships could have the authority to put a tax on these horizontal wells and even back up on some of that. Attorney Fittimore gave us some information just a couple weeks ago. So it was on the heels of this passage. So to look at that and understand that a little bit more, I think in any event we need to be proactive about that. In my opinion, we don't want to kill any deals. You don't get anything if they don't do anything. So don't kill the deal. But certainly it's something that we may need to look at, that be prepared ourselves so when it comes to us we know more about it. That's all, Chairman.
Okay. Now, we have a guest with us tonight. Denny Furman from the Berlin-Ellsworth Hurricane.
Well, on behalf of the Berlin-Ellsworth Hurricanes, we approved a grant for Ellsworth Township for $580 for 4 new flags. It would be 2 American flags and 2 Ellsworth identified flags. These are banners that would go up and down. Hopefully you can put them wherever you want, but we would like to suggest that you put these on your corner, welcome to Ellsworth, and with the American flags. So, on behalf of
And certainly, Chair, I think.
Well, we can do it up to the meeting if you like.
Want to wait till after the meeting?
Yeah. if you guys would honor us with
Sure,
taking a picture.
Absolutely.
Certainly, I think we want to get Chair, I think we want to get a letter of appreciation to the Roritans for us, them, first of all, thinking of us so much about that and spending that kind of money to put a little, an eye bling to when we come to our township.
This was actually the work with our road superintendent Kevin and your road superintendent Matt. They looked over it and then brought the suggestion to us, and we thought that it would be nice. We also got 4 flags for Berlin too, and so it'll distinguish our townships.
Because we don't want to be thinking we're Ellsworth.
Are yours going to say Ellsworth?
Ours are going to be high class. We'll have
Question, Denny, how do we think, who do we think, and how do we think here? Because we certainly,
In other words, Berlin's is going to be put on the good cloth, and ours is going to be put on the napkins.
Toilet paper.
No, just kidding.
I'm sure that Fred, he's a former Ruritan. I'm sure you know how to present a letter for it.
Yep, we'll get a letter to them. We'll all sign it.
Very good, thank you.
Yes, thank you very, very much. We appreciate it. Okay, old business, lake update. The lake, the pond, or however you want to say it, has the cattails removed. Went rather quickly. What was he in there, 2 days? So Greg kept moving. There's no doubt about it. There's no, done a very nice job. The lake looks good. So I guess the only thing now is, do we want to discuss about doing anything with the stone, or do we want to leave it, or what's your pleasure, gentlemen?
I think the window closed quickly as far as that lake filling back up, and I think the decision should be made. There was some information he gave us in a preliminary quote about, and Fred, I think they said 12 feet of rock, and I don't see where we would need 12 feet of rock. If we was to go near that pond right now, you could see how steep and deep that was. That was kind of, now that's full of Leonard Mace. He always did at least a 3-to-1, and he packed that clay in there, and those guys really did it right. That's a very nice pond, trustees at that time. But I think 6 feet of rock would be adequate. The thing that the rock does to me, it's almost like a fence. When people start walking on that cobble, they back away, their ankles get sore. I think if anybody was to walk up that lake and take 2 steps in it, they're down in it, It's pretty, when you walked up, we've all had a chance to see it.
Very steep, yes.
When we did the depth evaluation, we were kind of figuring, well, this really drops off quick,
Yeah. Okay.
You have any
You
comments?
done? Yeah, I did. I was waiting. You done, Marty?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, I think that I was kind of undecided until I saw the clean out in progress, whether the rock was going to be advantageous or not. But seeing the steepness of the lake and the relative cost for the rock, even at the 12-foot, I think we can cut it down a little bit. We never. How did we approve that before? Do you know? Let me see. We got 9.
We did not approve any rock.
No, but we had an 18,000
Max.
approved max for everything.
Yeah, I don't know. I did not talk to Greg, so I don't know what his bill's going to be.
Well, and so the rock comes in, or the original 12-foot estimate was 7,800 to 8,700, and that was a full 12-foot. And knowing we can cut that down to maybe 2/3 of that or so.
Right, because of the
2/3
fabric.
or less, hopefully. That would take the cost, who can do the math real quick? Let me see, $6,000 for 2/3, 9,000, so 6. So I would be comfortable doing something with the rock and putting a dollar limit on it. Motion? Shall I make the motion?
Any more discussion, Chair?
Anything else?
Well, I'll go back to my original statement, It's been like that for 30-some years, and there's never been a problem. I'm still not convinced we need the rock, but that's my opinion.
Yeah. Well, as I said, I could have went either way, but knowing that we're going to have, the public will be around it, and I'm just concerned with the steepness of it. I don't know. Did you go back and look at the? Oh, did you? That's my opinion. So I'll go for like 6,000 cap on the rock. I don't know. What do you think? The rock and the geotech and the labor and the installation.
Yeah, I thought it would be closer to $5,500, but I mean,
Yes?
As far as the lake taking care of itself all this time, something for you to keep in mind, the roots of those cattails also help keeping that lake from sliding in. Now, those roots are going to die. So you really do need the rock.
But for years and years and years, the cattails were taken out of there and nothing happened to the sides of those lakes.
The cattails really were mowed down. They weren't taken out because they came back very quickly because the roots were intact.
I can tell you this much, that when Bill Schisler was there was never a cattail visible. I do not know, I don't know how he took care of it, I don't know whether he pulled them, I don't know whether he kept them mowed off, but I think other people that have been here years ago can testify to the same thing. There was no cattails around there.
I want to say, I think when, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, this could have been when Howard Young or Jerry Grace may have been in office, but I think they cleaned the pond out one other time. But it's been probably maybe 30 years ago. So I do know it was cleaned out before.
Okay.
So, but it was a long time ago.
Anybody else?
I
I mean, it's
think-
the cornerstone of our new little park that we're trying to do for the public.
and it does, it's striking when you drive up to our post office, it's a big difference. And we can look out here and see how it looked when we looked over to this lot right over here. Those were cattails on steroids. We definitely knew that they were a problem. This may be a more permanent solution to the problem. If we don't do it, we'll probably have yearly maintenance there, and whether we're weed whacking them or spraying them or killing them, we heard numbers around $500 a year to do that. So I'm ready for the geotech and the rocket. So if you want to make a motion.
It's easy to do now, and it probably won't be any cheaper, so. You motioning?
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll make the motion that we empower Greg Ellis as part of his option on his contract for the lake work to spend up to $6,000. Is that a comfortable number? $6,000 for geotech and rock on the side of the lake. It's ongoing now, and it'll be done very soon. So.
I can second
Geotech,
that.
rock and labor. Geotech, rock and labor, 6,000. That's part of his original
Total.
contract. Yeah, total.
Second that.
Trustee Spellman?
Yes.
Trustee Tillman?
Yes.
Trustee Houston? Yes.
Real quick question about our hydrants, since it's exposed, if we can, well, what we did is, because obviously when we put that hydrant in and fix it for the 50-year drought study, we put it on and then we put screws in the hydrant from underwater. If we can, now that it's exposed, if we can get to it and take those screws out and glue it, so it's on there, so.
I think he's asking you to do it. I think he's asking you to
No,
do it.
can we do that? I mean, plus if Greg's there, if we can get him to scoop out a little bit, we can do it. We'll do it. If we can just clean around the edge of that with a hydrant, so we'll do it.
I'm sure Greg could do it for you.
Yeah. So, yeah, I know, like I said, we can glue it, it's no big deal. We got to glue at the station. Yeah. So we'll just repair it.
Is it where you thought it would be, the end of the pipe? Is this how it's supposed to be now? You can see the end.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because we had to add to it to meet that 50-year drought study. So that's where, yeah.
Yeah, he'll do that, because we're going to be cleaning out all the other drain outlets and everything else, so.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else on the lake? Okay, parking lot discussion. The first thing is that the chair would like to entertain a motion to remove that one motion or rescind the motion
Oh, okay.
We need a motion to rescind the motion that we made last month about putting out for the parking lot bid, since we're not going to be doing that.
Okay. I'll make a motion to that effect that we extend that.
Should we talk about
Advertisements.
and or? So we can show the reason.
Well, we will, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So moved on that, Chair.
That's fine.
All right, who made the motion?
I did so move.
Okay, I'll second the motion.
Okay, trustee Spellman?
Yes.
Trustee Spellman? Okay, now that that one's out of the way. Okay. That's the first thing we had to get out of the way.
Okay.
When we talked last month, we thought we were doing the right thing, and I thought we were right. We got involved with the prosecutor, and he said, no, you're not doing it right. Prosecutor said because it's a public works and because of the amount of money involved, it had to have an engineer involved. So with that, the closest engineer I knew was Jason Young. I knew he was a good engineer. I contacted Jason. He came down, met with us, talked with us. We gave him our views. He gave us his views, and he said, let me put something together. One of the things that we were looking at doing was more or less taking off like 2.5 inches and putting a membrane down. Jason is not real familiar with the membrane. State doesn't recognize it yet. Not saying that it's a bad thing, it's just that the state doesn't recognize it. His bid, what he estimated is going to be a lot more than what we thought. So we all kind of, well, we were all sitting down when he told us. So anyway, to put a kind of a long story short, I think it's kind of the opinion of the trustees that we would like Jason to take the time and look into the membrane business. We're going to do away with doing the parking lot this year. We're going to try and have everything in place to get it going like by March of next year. And hopefully then we can come up with a good way, a way that everybody can kind of consensus on of how to repair it. That's kind of the way I take it. If one of you want to add on to it or say anything more?
Well, you summarized it very good. And we felt that if we hurried up and were under the gun to do something this year, that we wouldn't be able to get the biggest bang for our buck, and we're spending money that we're not sure of. So, my opinion. Go ahead.
And certainly, where I think my thoughts are at is that you've helped us with 100-year rainfall, you've helped us with other things like that, and it costs lots of money to get those initials after your name, okay? I think what we may have to do, Chair, I think what we may have to do is to retain him to do these type of things. I think we may request just a 5-minute executive session to possibly talk about the under 12122 about hiring him and retain him for the period of doing this. And I don't know, that way we would talk about his feelings about it. I don't think that would be an open forum. I think we would be under the executive session 122.22 of hiring a person and negotiating with them. We might hear your thoughts about you extending your services for this.
Okay. Anybody, anything else? Do you have a problem if we go ahead through the meeting, and that way if people want to leave, and then we'll go into executive session, if that's all right with you?
I'm on your dime.
Okay. All right. Okay. New business. We've had some discussions about changing the hourly rate of our temporary help. So I'm going to, again, what's your pleasure, gentlemen? Want to talk about it?
Go ahead.
I say that we use an evaluation process, whether how loose or tight that is. I think I would like some documentation to go along with the rate. I think the quick snapshot of the people we have quality people who are doing a quality job. I would yield to another opinion of yours, and then the superintendent's here about that. We have them doing a complexity of work here, but I don't think it comes without us evaluating the person, and that could be done here tonight, but I would like then to follow up with the documentation that we did, so we think that they were doing a good job. That's my opinion.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I've personally observed them on a daily basis, and I think that we're getting more than our money's worth out of them, and they're very good workers, and they've proven themselves, and I'm open to some adjustment. Matt?
That's pretty well the same way I feel. I guess I'd ask Matt, do you have any problem with any of them? Do you feel that you're saying?
I think an adjustment in their hourly rate would be a good move.
Okay. Well, then I guess we're all in a joint, agreement about doing it. Just somebody want to make a motion then?
Yeah, we don't have to go to executive session for this, and Chair, we did this right there. I would think that we need a motion to what our current rate is. What is it, 9?
9.
I think $10 is something I was thinking.
Sure.
Are you making the motion?
Well, I wanted to discuss the amount just to then make a motion.
Yes, that would be good.
Yeah, I make a motion and we bring our part-time help up to $10 an hour that's hired through Callis.
And I would just like to say that and make it effective Monday, whatever next Monday is. We don't want to.
You know the pay period, right?
Yeah,
Every time okay.
They get paid. Yeah, I think they're on bi-weekly, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't know where we're at on it.
Term the beginning of the next pay cycle. Is that what we're going to say?
Yeah, let's just make it effective the next pay cycle, so that it's all clear. That's all right with you?
Yeah, the most recent pay cycle, yeah. I'll make the motion that we move $10 an hour for our help. I want documentation of the evaluation to say that, and it'll be effective first available pay cycle.
Okay, I'll second the motion to do that.
Trustee Spellman?
Yes.
Trustee Tillman?
Yes.
Trustee Houston? Yes.
For the public, they are doing a really good job. There wasn't a doubt in Thomas in the group, but we were really pleasantly surprised.
Must have had a good supervisor.
Even the prisoners do a good job.
Yeah, and combine it with the prisoners, and we're really getting good bang
Yes.
for our buck. So
Matt does a wonderful job for us. There's no doubt
we've
about
had
that.
2, and hopefully we'll build it back up from the 1 to 2 again sometime.
Chair, I forgot one thing here.
Yes?
In my committee report, the Moore grant, which we have a copy of, about the $500 to improve some of our safety. We made application certainly before that deadline. I have the facts that it did. I haven't heard word on it, but we did follow through, and we did spend the $500 pursuant to that grant. We've used that over the years. Concoil cut us some good prices. We did help the fire department in that with some of the dry hydrants and some high visibility wear for our superintendent here. So it was up to the $500, and hopefully I can say that to confirm that we did get it.
Artie, in one of the emails from Trent Taylor, he needs you to call. They need more specifics or something.
Okay.
That'll be sent in.
Okay.
I wasn't sure who sent it in.
Okay, I didn't get that, but thank you for that, Karen.
Sure.
There we go.
Okay. Announcements. Next regular meeting will be August 13th, 2014, 7 p.m. here. Okay, for the good of the order. Denny, do you have anything you'd like to say for the good of the order?
God bless you guys.
Thank you. We need it.
No, but Denny does a lot of things at the fair with the Rortans, and Fred was part of that. We would, one thing that didn't get mentioned in public about our fair display, chief, maintenance, We can use some of our citizens. We need to upgrade that a little bit. We want some input on that, and just sitting here thinking about the fair, and then we think of all the help you do over there at handicap parking and some of the things that Roritan do. I know you help with it.
We could use some extra Roritans if you know anybody.
A little help over. I wasn't a member, but I'd help when I could.
Matt, anything?
Not for me. Good.
Okay. Well, Jason, you have anything you want to say?
Happy to be here.
Larry,
It's nice to see you.
what do you got for us tonight?
Since you brought up something new about the mailboxes outside, do you think it'd be appropriate to have some sort of a canopy over it for inclement weather or whatnot?
I don't know, because that is U.S. Postal, what do I want? Equipment. So we might be able to ask that, but that is entirely up to them. They have control over that. But we could ask.
Good answer. They come August 12th.
Larry, that was a discussion that I had with the postmaster, that we, that's something that should be looked at. And it's, don't know. It was brought up, but it's up to the post office.
Well, how much control do they have of our property? Can we put it up?
It's our property, but
Their guidelines.
it's their guidelines, and those post office boxes are U.S. Postal equipment. It is not Ellsworth's.
I understand that, but if we have a canopy overhead, so high, so wide, away from their boxes, just for,
We can check into it, we will.
Yeah.
But I can't make any promises.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just...
That would be a good question to come to the post office
Yeah.
meeting.
I'll be there.
And get and ask them.
Good. Right.
Anything else?
Oh.
Lee?
Yeah, this is kind of a food for thought for trustees. Each of you seem to take on an assignment in a certain specific area, and I just thought maybe some consideration ought to be given to adding people from the township to work with you, both for learning and for ideas, such as an infrastructure committee, a site plan review committee, Parks and Recreations committee, business development committee, property and grounds committee, and an LUP committee are some ideas I have.
Taken and noted. Shelley?
Just a couple quick questions. What is our ISO rating?
5.
5? Okay. And you were talking about the sheriff's sign, but there is one out there, so what are you recommending?
It's not, it faces the street, and if you're going up and down the street, if you look to your left, you'd see it, but it would be nice if people just traveling, much like our sign is now, where you can read it, see
Just
it.
move the sign.
Yeah, but it's a single-sided, so we have to get another side made.
It's single-sided.
Yeah, I just, my wife, in fact, I was showing her around, she said, I never knew there was a sign there. Just, people go up and down, unless you turn the street.
I heard that before, too.
Yeah, it's oddly placed.
We couldn't get Deputy Boggs to stand around long enough to carve something out of it, and we didn't have a tree big enough, so tell him that when you get back.
And the dog that works over there at the corner of 224 and Market Street, we couldn't get him to come out and be the Mr. Gruff.
And then I wasn't real clear, Karen, you mentioned something about a letter to do with litigation that was sent to Attorney Matthews. Could you explain that a little again?
Attorney Matthews is represented, he's from Otarma, and he's part of the litigation case. And so when in the audit they sent a letter to Attorney Finnemore asking if there had been any monetary payouts during the audit period in this litigation case. And I suggested that they also send one to Attorney Matthews for two reasons. Because number one, he's supposed to be the lead attorney, and at that point in time, Attorney Finnemore was not well. and I thought that we could maybe cover it better that way.
So when you're saying pay out, you mean like as in a settlement or paying a legal, oh, as in a settlement?
Not legal fees, just had to be a settlement.
Oh, was it settled during the audit?
Yes, was there any settlement paid out during the audit? The answer is no.
Jim? Yes.
I got a question on Dee's question because my understanding was that the auditors wanted to know whether or not financially you were prepared to pay for a claim that might be $20,000. Have we reserved that in the financial records? That's what I thought the question was.
That was not asked of me today.
That's not the way I took it. I took
That's
it the
not
way she's taking it, the way
Yeah,
when I read
because
it.
you talked to Cheryl
Yeah,
Patton too.
has there been any monetary settlements? Not, I never got the impression from her that how do I want to say it, that we had any kind of a fund set aside for that.
I'll give you a note on it then, where I read it that way.
Fine. Anybody else have anything? Okay, at this point, one of you gentlemen want to make a motion to go into executive session?
Yeah, and anybody can stay till afterward, because we'll talk about when we came out, it's going to be short, but, yeah, Chair, under Ohio Revised Code 121.22, I asked if we could go into executive session to discuss the possibility of hiring and negotiating with a contract with hiring a person to work on our township project.
I'll second the motion.
Trustee Spellman?
Yes.
Trustee Tillman?
Yes.
Trustee Houston, yes. Like Artie said, you people are more than welcome to stick around until we come out. Don't know for sure. There'll probably be a motion made, but no guarantees. If you want to stick around, you're more than welcome. If you don't, God bless you and have a good day.
You want, Chair, do you want to take 5 minutes to take the picture before?
Oh, no, we can do the picture.
Because I'm going to wait for Jason.
Oh, you're waiting for Jason anyway?